What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Hope you guys are doing well. It's Exanon here, back with another video. Today we're going to be looking at XRP and how the largest banks in South Africa are jumping ship into XRP. Right, guys? Before we get into it, nothing on this channel is financial advice by any means. This is all speculation and for educational purposes. Let's get straight into it. So today, which is England is May 8th, 2022. XRP is currently at 57 cents, and that's a good steal. Alright, so we got that out the way what its current price is at, and we're just gonna go through some stuff quickly. So I found this document, and this was the Project Goka 2. This is the first Project Goka, and now this Project Goka 2. For some reason, there is a change between the two documents, and it looks very interesting because with everything going on, I've seen people get censored for talking about XRP and stuff like that. From the first document on here, they talk a little bit about Ripple and stuff like that. The second project Coca 2, they don't mention any crypto, they don't mention Quorum in the documents, they don't mention R3 Quora, they don't mention Ripple, none of that stuff is mentioned. So when we're talking about the largest banks in South Africa, just like we'll go over some of the stuff. This is the Project Goka PDF. I'll drop this in the description below. It says Project Goka exploring the use of distributed ledger technology for interbank payments settlement in South Africa, and with South Africa we being one of the BRIC nations, we are at the forefront of all of this good stuff that's going on. Right, we got our goal with Project Coca is to contribute to the global initiatives which assess the application and use cases of distributed ledger technology (DRT) through collaborative effort piloted by South African Reserve Bank together with the national banking community. Right, we're seeing that. So they give a summary, and we'll just go through. We'll highlight some stuff on here. Right. So Project Coca 2 is a collaborative project led by the South African Reserve Bank and involving a consortium of South African settlement banks as well as technical and support partners. The goal of the project was to build a proof of concept wholesale payment system for interbank settlement using a tokenized South African rand, which is CBDCs and stablecoins, which will be on. I think there's two sides to it when it comes to the DLT technology, right? And other projects as well. But yeah, the project commenced in January 20 and ran for 14 weeks. It is the first project initiated by the recently constituted fintech unit in the South African Reserve Bank, right? And then you can pause this and check this out. I won't go through that one. Another part the Project Coca forms part of the second wave and was designed to provide a realistic test for a DLC-based wholesale system. And in particular, it investigates whether confidentiality could be achieved at scale, example, production level volumes, and whether multiple node types, each configured by a participating bank, could be accommodated. Uh, right? And the project was built on Quorum using Istanbul Byzantine fault tolerance, Pedersen commitments, and range proofs to deliver on the combination of scalability, resilience, confidentiality, and finality. This is thought to be the first time that a proof of concept has used Pedersen and range proofs on a quorum network using Istanbul Byzantine fault tolerance. Each bank was responsible for configuring its own node on the network, and 7 banks used a mixture of physical machines on the premises, virtual machines, and cloud-based virtual machines. Right. So there's a lot of nodes testing. All that stuff was done. When they talk about the clouds, they were using Microsoft Azure and they're using AWS, and AWS runs off RippleNet. And also the guy Verda Devraj, who was the senior VP for Amazon, he jumped to Ripple, and he's I think he's in management at Ripple. Right. Let's get into this back here. The results show that the typical daily volume on the South African payment system could be processed in less than 2 hours with confidentiality of transactions and settlement finality. This was done using ISO 20022 standard messages propagated within 2 seconds. See, they're telling you propagated within 2 seconds. You know what that sounds like? Uh, yes, XRP. That's right, baby. Across a network of geographically distributed nodes with distributed consensus, providing the requisite resilience, the South African Reserve Bank was able to view the detail of all transactions to allow for regulatory oversight. Right, so we covered that, what's going on there. Then just an introduction on the banks they've been working with, and these are all the largest banks in South Africa, by the way. Right, so Project Gokha was formally initiated by the South African Reserve Bank early in 2018 to experiment with DLT as mechanism for managing wholesale payments between settlement banks. Gokha is the isiZulu word meaning pay. The project was a collaborative effort initiated by the SRAB with the goal of building on the body of knowledge of DLT through a proof of concept. Right, here's the part to pay attention to. The initiative involved numerous partners, including a consortium of banks. ABSA is a partner with Barclays, and they use Ripple, and they was testing Ripple. Capitec Bank, it's not the it's the lowest largest bank. What I mean is, they have a lot of customers. It's not a known bank in South Africa. It's just because they have very low fees and stuff like that. So people, it caters for a lot of people, and that's how it became well known. Then you have Discovery Bank. You got First Rand. They work with FNB and they work with South African Reserve Bank. You have Investec. You have Nedbank. Nedbank works with Deloitte, and you have Standard Bank, right? Together with Consensus, right, as the technical partner, and PricewaterhouseCoopers Inc. as the support partner, right? Planning started late in 2017 with execution running for 14 weeks from January to April 2018. The project was managed by a fintech unit within the South African Reserve Bank and executed that the South African Reserve Bank will contribute to innovative and collaborative initiatives in the future in the fintech arena. Right, so you can see all the banks, and this is the part. This is the first these two. So there's Project Gokha and there's Project Gokha 2, right? But let's check this out, right? This is the first one, and I'll just show you some stuff that they mentioned here, and we'll actually read through this whole thing before I get to the Ripple part. The trade of security in blockchains like Bitcoins is the proof of work consensus mechanism which effectively limits the speed at which transactions can be processed and where publicized implications, energy usage, and the concentration of group of miners who perform the transaction verification. Now, I just showed you in that first part when they did the test, it was like under 2 seconds that they've done that part in the explanation. So there was no Bitcoin. That literally would indicate that Bitcoin was not involved in them doing that DLT test, right? And this is what they say about Bitcoin and why they will not use Bitcoin as network on the banking system, right? Because the Bitcoin network system, even with the Lightning Network, it doesn't. It's like it's the basically like trying to compare to Swift. It's like the same as Swift system. It does take long to do settlements and transactions compared to tokens like XRP and your XLM and your VChain and your HBAR and XDC and Quant and all of those other beautiful tokens out there, right? It does take like a long time. And if you're sending like less than $10, it can take 14 to 21 days for that transaction to get through in a pool, which then is longer than the Swift system, right? Uh, so yeah, we have Ripple, and if you consume Ripple, you can send XRP, and it's quick. It's less than 3 seconds. Even if they send their CBDCs, it's going to be done very quick on the Ripple network, right? So let's get back into this information on private blockchain environments. The implicit trust that the members of the network have in each other means the simpler consensus mechanisms can be used, and these distributed ledgers form the basis of the systems that financial institutions globally are experimenting with. DLP platforms developed specifically for financial services use include Corda R3, this Hyperledger Fabric, Quorum, and Ripple. Quorum is based on Ethereum and the technology used by this project, right? So there is that there as well. Right, we'll be focusing on the Ripple part because I know a lot of people are doubting what the heck is going on with Ripple because of the lawsuit and XRP and stuff like that. It's just to I know by time because I'm experiencing power outages. The war with Ukraine, we are BRICS nation, stuff like that. We know we have that floods that happened weeks back. We pay attention to that. That's after that floods that ushered in quite a liquidity crisis that was done after a video I'm going to show you guys and stuff like that that's going on, right? So then they are going to explain this as well. DLT has followed this pattern so far in that early applications are typified by replicating things that are already achieved with previously existing technology. This approach of doing things better often enables or leads directly to experiments with doing things that were impossible with the previous generation of technology. Financial services are currently leading to move into the stage with DLT, enabling new business models, which are the most exciting aspects of the field of activity. In the early stages of new technology, the necessary skills to implement it are scarce and its capabilities are not well understood. It can often take a while for enabling technologies and structures to emerge before adoption takes off. And this is what we are seeing with the current developments in distributed ledger technology. That's one part, and then they just explain different. You can check this, you can pause this and check it out. As you can see, there's a lot of things going on here. All right, right. This is another part. There's only like two parts that they talk about Ripple in this document, but compared to Project Goka 2, they ain't anything about Quora, Ripple, Quorum. There's nothing like that there. The BOE has conducted a number of different studies, publishing on only high-level results. In June 2016, it was announced that the BOE was conducting a DLC proof of concept leveraging Ethereum and considering raw settlement and transfer of value. The proof of concept accessed scalability, security, privacy, interoperability, and sustainability. Since then, the BOE has done other studies, including proof of concept of the Ripple, to explore how the use of Ripple connect the interledger protocol. So you have the Ripple network and the interledger protocol, and what's going to be the neutral bridge asset to travel in between for cross-border payments. As you can see, it cross-border payments is XRP. It is damn XRP. There's you can just see the verbiage and how things are written out. You know, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see what these powers that be are really doing at the top with all the banking systems and stuff like that. And for the study involved an academic exercise that looked at ways to maintain privacy over distributed ledger technology while still allowing a regulatory body to have a view of the data. Right, so we covered that stuff, what they are doing with uh, Ripple, right? Mm, and yeah, and then if you look at stuff South Africa, just to show you some stuff that you might find interesting, is you see this: the president is with Christine Lagarde. There's an IF meeting. Christine Lagarde chose Brad Garlinghouse. So you connect the dots, you see that happening there. Right. What's interesting is, like, yeah, I was saying, you see I've tapped in Ripple. You can see there is nothing that shows up on here. Not a thing about Ripple. I type in Coda. They've literally taken out what they've initially done in the first project, because I think, publicity and stuff like that, you can't let the people know what you're doing behind the scenes. So they have kept the stuff with XRP, Corda, Quorum, and all those kind of stuff behind the scenes while they're telling you, okay, we have distributed ledger technology. They're not saying crypto, they're not saying blockchain, they're saying distributed ledger technology, right? They're saying that. They kind of showing you the banks, talking about CBDCs and stuff like that, what they have. Then they have taken out some projects that were initially involved with the project, right? So this saying PQ2 was launched in February 2021. Wow. Why was PK22 launched in February 2021? What did we have before that? Project Goka. Yeah, then you can see the Ripple, like I showed you on the first one about Ripple. As you can see here, Ripple, right? And there's no Ripple here. But we know in December 2020 that loss will hit. So they kind of pulled away from all that information. They pulled away from Quora, they pulled away from the RippleNet stuff. And they've just been playing it really, really simple on how they going about it. You can see they even pulled some companies out of the document. You can only see there's a few now. Industry participants participated. Profitable apps are first rank. GSE, NetBank, Standard Bank. You can see what's not here. Discovery is not here. Investec is not here. They took those companies out just to keep it more stuff. And GSE wasn't mentioned in the other one, right? So what you have is you have GSE Limited, and I want to talk about GSE Limited. I will just show you the stuff with the banks. So GSE Limited is the Joburg Stock Exchange, right? That like caters for the stocks and stuff like that, which stocks are going to be digitized, and they're going to need a new instrument. Like XRP will be that new trading instrument against every currency, because XRP is stated to be a world reserve currency, and the level playing field that they talk about So we've seen corridors, right? But what happens is you're going to have a digitized stock market globally where you'll have your New York Stock Exchange, the Japan Stock Exchange, the Chinese Stock Exchange, JSE, right? You're going to have those things and they need to move. Then you're going to move a lot of liquid around. That's where the on-demand liquidity protocol will kick in, and they'll just have corridors for them to move money in the digitized stock market. And it'll be boom, 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 with corridors just opening up for these digitized stock markets to kick in and go live and do all of those stuff with trading. And have XRP had a high value? I know some people don't believe that. I'm not going to talk about the price of what XRP can be today, but I do believe that it is going to be high just for the reason of you have it trading against all these other stocks and other cryptos and the SDR bag and stuff, SDR basket, sorry, for those kind of things, and then just facilitating of moving a whole market. Right, and I know there's going to be other winners that do that stuff. Like XDC has trade finance, and you have like Stella has the stock market as well with DSTQ technology. Right, but I'm just talking about what Ripple is doing with international on-demand liquidity and SBI and all of those stuff and Liquidity Hub and companies in there. Right, but yeah, they would talk about those stuff in here, but they have, and then you see Essentia talks about the same stuff, and Essentia, works with XRP. And they say clear project will issue clear and settle debentures on DLT using tokenized money in a minimum viable product to inform policy and regulatory reflections. Industry participants will be able to purchase the debentures with a wholesale central bank issued digital currency. That'll be the digital rand, which I think that was launched on Project Dunbar, which was like I think it was a month back when they did the whole Project Dunbar launch. That went successfully. All right, and I'm not going to cover all of this just to show you on the original Project Goka and what explain like just is just the biggest banks, right, in South Africa, and some of them globally like Absa, Standard Bank, and I think Nedbank is well known global, and Discovery as well because they run hospitals and shit like that. And then you have Fostrand and Capitec Fostrand banks also big, right? So you kind of see Absa Amazon Web Services, which Amazon Web Services runs with Ripple, and then Amazon Web Services when it's RippleNet for the backdoor or whatever they call it plugs into the internet. You have Asia Private Cloud Network, DMZ, right? For the I think that's decentralized network, right? As well is what DMZ is. Investec, Discovery, you have that. You have Microsoft Asia, then you got Standard Bank doing their stuff. Force VC CPUs. These are the quantum computers. I think that's going to be in these places. Then you have standard stuff here with Fostrand, Capitec Bank, just connecting to Asia, and then from Asia they connect to Consensus. South African Bank connects to Asia. And you can see how everything just it's neatly done, right? That's gonna tie into RippleNet and all of those beautiful stuff, right? And then you have the National Treasury. I'm not going to read this whole thing. National Treasury has emphasized its commitments of ensuring fiscal and debt sustainability through growth-friendly fiscal consolidation to place public debt on a declining path. Right, you have, and it's fine. I'm not going to read this whole thing as well. I'll drop a link below. Right, the IMF held virtual meetings with the South African Reserve Bank, Eskom, the guys that do all the power outages and all the power cuts. That's what they infamously known for in South Africa. They will have a legacy for cutting our power like every day of the week. Business, organized labor, and academia. In its findings, the IMF acknowledged, what the IMF is working with. We've seen Brad Garlinghouse with the IMF dude on the stage and, talking about all the stuff they're going to be doing. Right? Acknowledged that South Africa had faced formidable challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic and that more recently the Omicron variant had caused additional health and economic distress and with relatively low vaccination rates, blah blah blah, and yeah, I don't really pay attention to the whole. There's a narrative with that. You can see what's really going on with this currency thing going on, where they love to have people locked inside their houses while they put a new financial system in place, right? And you can see that. Lock you in your house. Uh, Throw out a wall, work on your emotions, put a new financial infrastructure in place, and leave you behind, and then buy up all the shit that they can buy up, and just cause financial ruins to the masses is what's really going on now, right? And then you see the IMF is doing here. The IMF outlook for South Africa points for some growth recovery in the near term and long-term, medium-term performance. It states that economic output is capped by structural constraints, weak confidence, and less favorable terms of trade, said Treasury. And they talk about some stuff about it. The IMF estimates South Africa's economic growth at 4.6% in 21, projects growth at 1.9 and an average of 1.4% over the medium term. Inflation was to converge to the midpoint of 3% target range, and then you get ESCOM mentioned again, right? And stuff like that. Now, key note is when the project Dunbar stuff was done, they hiked the inflation rates more, right? And you have that going on there, and they have something called South Africa's Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. Now, I hear the term for XRP is also called Extreme Recovery Plan. So, and that's what it looks like with ushering in a liquidity crisis to bring in. That way, the only way that XRP is going to really move is when they have to have a real problem at hand, and that's what we're going through, right? And just to mention as well that this treasury, that the South African Reserve Bank, that's working with XRP and stuff like that, just pay attention because now they're talking about the Fed and they're talking about the US Treasury and they're talking about the inflation in the US, which the dollar is the standard at the moment for the world. So you just have to pay attention to what's going on in this video and what these guys are really talking about.
US quantitative tightening and the forecast for the rand dollar exchange rate. And then, Rashad, can you take the question on factors contributing to inflation and the impact of the slowdown of the Chinese economy on South Africa? With respect to Sanisha, with respect to the outlook for the repo rate, we do not project what is going to happen to the repo rate. We are an inflation targeting central bank. At every meeting of the Monetary Policy Committee, we would take a view of what is going to be the evolution of the global economy, what would be the outlook for the South African economy, how the South African economy interacts with the global economy, and what it means for both growth and inflation. And based on that, we would take a view of the adjustments that we make to the policy stance that we have. The quarterly projection model, which is just but one input for our deliberations as the Monetary Policy Committee, has got an embedded path of 25 basis points at each of the subsequent meetings. But that is not a forecast. It just remains a broad guideline which changes from meeting to meeting. And the MPC meets at every meeting and deliberate on what adjustments to make to the monetary policy stance. We do not put a forecast of what the repo rate is going to be for the rest of the year. So, Rashad, Fundi?
Yeah, okay, I'll kick off. Can you hear me? Yes. Let me just say that on the Chinese economy, it's important to realize that we rely on global demand in part for our economic growth. So typically, if our trading partners grow, that has a positive spillover on our growth rates. But when you limit it to a country like China, there not only does Chinese economic growth have a particular impact, positive impact on our growth, but China in particular plays a very important role as a high consumer of our commodities in influencing commodity prices, and has very positive effects for us. So if the Chinese economy slows down, one of the obvious ways in we see a negative impact on the economy is a slowdown in commodity demand, although demand in other parts of the world can offset that effect. So if you look at on the question of inflation, if you look at our last MPC statement, there are a few things that are driving inflation Ukraine-Russian conflict and during the conflict. In the first case, I think that there was a recovery from a massive contraction in 2020 at minus 6.4%. So prices went down to some extent. So we began to see prices normalizing from very low levels. But linked to that is we still have a problem in our price structure in this country that consumers pay a lot for what we call administrative prices, like electricity, like municipal rates and tax. When I mean a lot, the increase in prices. So those admin prices continue to contribute to upside inflation risks. Obviously, with the conflict, suddenly the major revision of the oil price in our inflation basket, as is the case in many parts of the world, has been the overshadowing upside risk to inflation linked to the food price, and the two reinforce each other. So these are the kind of things. In contrast, I think that there's still low demand in the economy, so core inflation remains within the midpoint of the target, and that's a very positive sign that at underlying inflation, or inflation, for those of you who don't interact much with us, inflation without goods that are volatile is pretty stable around the 4.5%. Thank you.
Yeah, no, just watch this.
Okay. Thank you.
Governor, if I can come in, I have two questions.
You're going to talk now, yeah, about the US.
So if you can hear me, let me start by discussing the issue of quantitative tightening. So quantitative tightening refers to a central bank reducing the size of its balance sheet. So in the case of the Fed has been buying assets. So they've been buying government bonds, they've been buying corporate bonds. And so the size of its balance sheet is actually a lot larger. It is double the size that it was in 2019. And what the Fed has done now is it has stopped buying bonds, and it has communicated that it will start the process of reducing its balance sheet. So when a central bank buys bonds, it is adding money or liquidity to the system. So by selling off what it is holding, it is going to take money out of the system.
Adding liquidity to this, adding money and liquidity to the system. Now they are stopping bonds. They're going to reduce that balance sheet. You know what XRP is, right? It's a liquidity token.
System. So that is what is happening with that tightening, that quantitative tightening. But at the same time, the Fed has announced with the spike in interest rates in the US that based on the information in front of it, it will start to normalize interest rates. And we have started to see that starting to happen. Now, how does that link to the probability of a recession? So historically, a recession, and I'm now talking about a recession in the United States, which is used as a proxy. Recessions have been triggered by the US Fed or the central bank increasing interest rate very quickly. The second trigger for a recession in the past has been very high commodity prices, and in this instance, very high oil prices. And that is what has happened in the past. And we are in a situation right now where the Fed is hiking interest rate in an environment where the oil price is also elevated. So those who make the projections around the probability of a recession in the United States are highlighting that the probability of a recession is quite high. And the general focus is on the United States because it is the largest economy in the world. So that's how those discussions are going on regarding the probability of the recession and how it is linked with the current developments. So the Fed is in a hiking cycle, they're increasing interest rates.
Boom. The Fed is in a hiking cycle and they're increasing interest rates. And I mean, you can hear the whole thing of that. And just for the sake of time, I'll drop this video in the description box below. But pretty much she covered up what's really going on there, right? And, just for the people that's, in South Africa that's watching this and you don't have XRP and you want to get some XRP, you can get it from Luno, you can get it from Vela, right? And you can get it from Coinbase as well. That I'll put that up, right? And what you need to get is after you get your XRP, is you want to get a Ledger wallet like this. This is what it looks like: a Ledger Nano S, a Ledger Nano X. This is cold storage to make sure you have your crypto off the exchange and keep secure, because XRP, when they are showing a liquidity crisis, these exchanges will do play dirty and they will try to take your XRP. You cannot leave XRP on an exchange by any means, right? And I will drop this website in the description box below as well, so you can get your hands on some XRP and have a ledger and make sure all of that stuff is secure, right? So there's big things with banks in South Africa that's moving in with XRP, and there's going to be other winners in cryptos involved as well. There's more than just XRP. But the point of pointing out here is they're using the RippleNet protocol. All these banks are in with the RippleNet protocol, as you can see from the document shown. So with that being said, you guys have a good day. I'm gonna head out. Thank you for watching, and yeah, cheers, guys. Have a good day. Right, bye.